Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is a brand new deep dive from the podcast AI Unraveled. It's created and produced by Etienne Noman. He's a senior engineer and, fun fact, a passionate soccer dad up in Canada. If you want to stay right on top of all the latest AI happenings, definitely make sure you like and subscribe over at Apple Podcast. So today our mission really is to cut through all the noise. We want to bring you the most important, sometimes surprising and, sometimes challenging insights from the very latest AI developments. This is all drawn directly from a stack of curated sources dated July 8th, 2025.
And it's definitely a day packed with aha moments. We're going to be looking at AI designing drugs, believe it or not, making executive decisions too. We'll also dive into the, pretty fierce talent wars happening in the industry and uncover some really surprising new capabilities showing up in AI systems themselves. So get ready. It's going to be a rapid fire, pretty comprehensive look at how AI is reshaping things and, what it actually means for you.
Okay, let's unpack this first bit then. There's this huge wave of news, right, about AI transforming health and science. And honestly, some of it sounds almost like science fiction. So first up, Alphabet's Isomorphic Labs. They're a DeepMind spinoff. And get this, they are actually preparing their first human clinical trials for AI-designed cancer drugs.
Yeah, that's huge. They've apparently spent 4 years using AlphaFold 3, the AI system that got famous for predicting protein structures to develop these drugs.
4 years, wow.
Right. And they just secured $600 million in fresh funding back in April. Plus, they've got partnerships with giants like Novartis and Eli Lilly, their ultimate vision. They're calling it a drug design engine with the goal, incredibly ambitious, to solve all diseases.
Oh, all diseases.
I know. Human dosing is expected very soon, starting with oncology. And it's not just them saying it, a Nobel Prize winner actually agrees this kind of utopian vision might be in sight.
So what does this really mean? It feels like AI could potentially replace all that old trial and error stuff in pharma. Faster, more precise drug design, maybe even tested heavily in simulations first.
Exactly. It's about collapsing that timeline. And, it's not just Isomorphic Labs either. Google DeepMind itself is also apparently soon to begin human trials of its AI-designed drugs. So it really reinforces this trend.
It feels like a complete paradigm shift is happening right now.
It really does. And it's not just about designing drugs that already sort of exist in nature. The Chinese Academy of Sciences, for instance, introduced a new method called AC. This is for what they call inverse protein design. So think about it, instead of just finding proteins, they can kind of design new ones from scratch, proteins with specific jobs you want them to do.
Okay, designing proteins.
Yeah, and it speeds up protein evolution without needing to train whole new AI models every time. So faster, cheaper, more accessible protein design. It could, completely revolutionize drug discovery and biotech tools.
And then for something maybe a bit closer to immediate patient impact, the Mayo Clinic, they've developed a vision transformer AI system.
Ah, yes, the image analysis AI.
Exactly. This AI is really good at looking at images.
Yeah.
And it's designed to detect surgical site infections super quickly and accurately just from photos taken during outpatient monitoring. I mean, imagine the impact that could have on healthcare as we know it.
Yeah.
For you or your family, future generations. Fewer complications, better outcomes.
What's really fascinating here, I think, is how all these developments highlight this big shift. We're moving from reactive medicine, treating problems after they happen, towards predictive and preventative medicine. AI's ability to chew through massive data sets and simulate outcomes is just way beyond what humans can do alone. But it does raise an important question, doesn't it?
Which is?
How quickly will we actually see these solutions move from these exciting trials to, widespread patient access? The potential is huge, but that rollout timeline is critical.
That's a really good point. And speaking of understanding and building with AI, if you're listening and feeling inspired to maybe grasp the fundamentals better or even get certified, Etienne Newman has put together some really incredible resources. He's got AI certification preparation ebooks and audiobooks. They cover things like Azure AI Engineer Associate, Google Cloud Generative AI Leader, the AWS Certified AI Practitioner Study Guide, Azure AI Fundamentals, and also Google Machine Learning Certification. You can find all of those at djangatetech.com. We'll put the links in the show notes for you. Okay, let's shift gears a bit now. How is AI impacting our daily lives? Professional, personal, sometimes in ways you really wouldn't expect. So this resume builder survey came out. It found that, well, a pretty staggering 60% of managers are now using AI, not just for tasks, but for critical business and personnel decisions.
Yeah, that number is high, and it's not trivial stuff either. We're talking about using AI to help decide on raises. 78% of managers using it for that. Promotions, 77%, even terminations, 64%.
Terminations. Wow.
Right. And the main tool seems to be ChatGPT. About 53% use that. Then Microsoft Copilot at 29% and Google Gemini at 16%. But here's the kicker, I think. 1 in 5 managers, 1 in 5, allows the AI to make the final decision with no human review. And this is despite most of them admitting they lack formal AI training.
That seems risky.
It does, and apparently 43% of managers who were asked to evaluate if AI could replace team members actually followed through on the AI's recommendation for replacement. It really flips the script, doesn't it? It's not just AI assisting managers, it's AI making managerial calls. It makes you wonder if the owners will just automate the managers next, you know?
It's definitely an unnerving thought seeing AI get so embedded in management, especially the decision-making part.
Yeah.
But it's not always smooth sailing when AI gets integrated, is it?
No, definitely not.
Take the coding editor startup, Cursor. They recently had to apologize basically for really poor communication around their pricing changes.
Oh, I saw that. They switched models, right?
Yeah, they went from like a 500 requests per month thing to a token-based model, which in practice drastically cut the limits for many users. Developers were reporting just burning through their quotas incredibly fast. One team apparently exhausted a $7,000 annual subscription in a single day.
Ouch. That's bad.
Yeah. Led to a wave of cancellations, people moving to alternatives like Claude Code. This company ended up issuing refunds and promising better communication, citing the high cost of running the latest AI models.
It's a good reminder, isn't it? Even with super advanced AI tools, you absolutely need customer-centric clarity. Pricing missteps, especially if they feel sneaky or unfair, can just destroy trust.
Absolutely. On a slightly lighter note, maybe, OpenAI is apparently testing a new feature, it's kind of mysterious, called Study Together in ChatGPT.
Study together. Interesting.
Yeah, some users are seeing a new sidebar option. Sounds like it turns ChatGPT into an interactive study buddy, either for individuals or potentially groups.
So pushing into collaborative learning makes sense, though hopefully with the usual caveats about verifying facts.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
They still urge users to do that. And then over at Wimbledon, of all places, AI actually got, well, benched temporarily.
You're kidding. The line calling system.
Yeah, the AI-powered electronic line calling system. Apparently, it was mistakenly shut off by an official midpoint, caused a replay, drew a lot of criticism about automation in sport.
Huh. Well, that certainly reignites the debate, doesn't it? Should AI fully replace human judgment in something with so much tradition like tennis? Highlights the risks of technical glitches, procedural errors, maybe even a bit of human resistance.
The Wimbledon story really does bring up that critical question, the balance between efficiency, which AI offers, and human judgment, especially in areas with deep traditions or lots of nuance.
Yeah, absolutely. Whether it's a manager's decision about someone's career or a line call on center court, it just underscores the need for really thoughtful implementation, robust oversight, as AI weaves itself deeper into our daily routines.
Definitely. And look, if you're listening and thinking about navigating these changes in your own career, or maybe you just want to deepen your understanding of how AI is shaping industries, or maybe even start building things yourself, Etienne Noeman's AI Unraveled Builders Toolkit is a fantastic resource for that. It includes a whole series of AI tutorials in PDF format, AI and machine learning certification guides, and also AI tutorials in audio and video formats. Really helps you get started building with AI. As always, all the links for that toolkit are in the show notes. Okay, now, here's where things get really interesting, I think. The AI world isn't just about the cool tech. It's also this incredibly high-stakes arena. Fierce competition, big security concerns, and lots of ethical debates bubbling up.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Case in point.
Yeah.
There's a Chinese giant, Huawei's research arm. They're currently pushing back hard against accusations that their Pengu Pro model was actually copied from Alibaba's Kirin 2.5 model.
Right. This story broke recently. There was a GitHub group, Honest AGI, that published some findings, although they quickly deleted them. But They alleged an extraordinary correlation between the models. They even claimed to find a Quinn license file tucked inside Pangu's game.
Inside the code. Wow.
Yeah. Now, Huawei strongly denies all of this. They insist Pangu was developed independently, on their own Ascended chips. But then, adding fuel to the fire, a supposed whistleblower claiming to work at Huawei posted online alleging that cloning did happen, basically due to immense internal pressure to compete.
So it suggests that the intense domestic competition in China might be pushing teams to cut corners ethically. Raises big questions about, commitment to open source and respecting IP.
Exactly. And speaking of protecting IP and competition, OpenAI, they are taking some pretty extreme measures right now.
Extreme how?
They've activated what they're literally calling military-grade security to protect their AI models. We're talking things like information tenting.
Information tenting. What's that?
It's like creating these hyper-secure, isolated digital bubbles to stop leaks, biometric access controls, stricter offline systems, massively enhanced cybersecurity. They've even put in a deny-by-default internet policy for employees to really lock down access. And they've hired some serious heavy hitters, a former Palantir CISO and a retired U.S. Army general specifically for cyber and data defense.
Wow, that's intense. Why such drastic steps?
Well, it follows those allegations that a Chinese rival, DeepSeek, supposedly used a technique called distillation to essentially copy OpenAI's models. So the big takeaway here, protecting the intellectual property of these AI models has become so critical, it's blurring the lines between standard corporate security and national level defense strategies. It's an arms race, really.
An arms race.
Yeah.
And it's not just about protecting the models themselves, is it? It's also about the people who build them, the talent.
Oh, absolutely. The talent war is white hot. Get this. OpenAI is reportedly fighting Meta, trying to retain and attract top researchers by offering a staggering $4.4 billion in stock compensation.
$4.4 billion in stock.
Yes, that's apparently 119% of their revenue from last year. It's astronomical.
Why such huge numbers?
Well, it comes right after Meta reportedly poached 8 researchers from OpenAI. The offers were apparently in the 9-figure range for some of them. This happened after Meta's own big model, Llama 4 Behemoth, apparently failed some key benchmarks. So Meta created this new division, Meta Superintelligence Labs, to really double down. And there was even a leaked memo from OpenAI leadership promising staff they would recalibrate comp to compete.
It just shows how critical the human expertise still is, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Despite all the talk of AI replacing jobs, the people who can actually build these cutting-edge systems are incredibly valuable.
Absolutely crucial. These equity offers just reflect that. The competition for the best AI minds is fiercer than ever.
And speaking of poaching, Meta just scored another big win, didn't they? They hired Apple's head of foundation models.
That's right, Ruming Pang. He led the team behind Apple's Apple Intelligence features. He's now joined Meta's Superintelligence Labs, reportedly on a multi-million-dollar package.
That must be a blow to Apple.
You'd think so. It kind of underscores reports of turmoil inside Apple's AI division. Apparently, morale took a hit over discussions about using outside tech, maybe from Google or others, for Siri. And we know Apple's more advanced Siri features have been pushed back to 2026 now, needing a V2 architectural rebuild.
So it looks like Apple's AI strategy might be hitting some snags, while Meta is just aggressively accelerating by snapping up top talent.
These moves really send ripples across the whole industry, right? Affecting future products, the whole competitive landscape.
Definitely. And amidst all this competition and secrecy, there's also this growing fight to make frontier AI, the really powerful stuff, less secretive.
Okay, how so?
Well, Anthropic just released what they're calling a targeted transparency framework. It's a proposal.
What does it propose?
It suggests that the biggest AI developers think companies spending over $1 billion on AI or making $100 million in revenue from it should have to disclose how they test and deploy their most powerful models.
Makes sense. What kind of disclosures? 3 main requirements. First, publish secure development frameworks, basically, how they evaluate risks from things like CBRN threats.
CBRN, chemical, biological.
Exactly. Chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear threats, and also risks from autonomous AI systems going rogue. Second, release system cards summaries of how they tested the model, what safety measures are in place. And third, face real legal consequences if they make false claims about safety, including protections for whistleblowers.
Interesting. So targeting the big players.
Yeah, the proposal deliberately shields startups, which is interesting. But it also really highlights these deeper tensions in the industry right now because, on the other hand, you have OpenAI recently weakening its own safety testing rules. They basically said they might release high-risk models if their competitors do. They even got rid of pre-deployment testing specifically for manipulation and disinformation capabilities.
That sounds like the opposite of transparency.
It does. And then you have Elon Musk updating his Grok AI to be more politically incorrect after it fact-checked one of his claims. He told it to, and I quote, assume subjective viewpoints are biased and not shy away from making claims which are politically incorrect. Safety experts like Max Tegmark are warning about a potential race to the bottom here, where companies prioritize speed and capability over caution and safety.
Wow. So you have these huge pressures, right? Geopolitical competition, massive financial stakes with IP, and then these really thorny ethical dilemmas about deploying powerful tech quickly.
Exactly. It just reveals the intense forces at play. And it really makes you wonder, can the industry truly self-regulate effectively when the competitive pressures are that strong? Or is some form of external oversight just becoming inevitable to manage the risks these advanced models pose?
It's a huge question. Okay, let's maybe zoom out a little bit now. Let's look at some really fascinating insights into how AI itself is learning, how it's interacting, and importantly, how it's being used for good, too.
Yeah, some really cool stuff happening there.
So researchers ran this massive experiment, 140,000 rounds of the prisoner's dilemma game, but using large language models, LLMs, from OpenAI, Google, and Anthropic as the players.
The prisoner's dilemma, classic game theory.
Right. And they found these models didn't just play randomly. They developed unique strategic approaches. They even generated written rationales, like explaining their thinking, before making each decision.
That's fascinating. It's more evidence, isn't it, of reasoning capabilities that go beyond just spotting patterns in data.
Totally. And the results showed really distinct strategies. Like Gemini was described as ruthlessly adaptive. OpenAI's models tended to be cooperative even when exploited, and Anthropic's Claude was apparently the most forgiving.
So different models almost have different personalities. That could lead to vastly different outcomes if you use them for high-level tasks like negotiation or allocating resources. Depends on the model's inherent disposition, I guess.
Disposition, yeah, that's a good word for it. And then this next one is kind of mind-blowing. UCLA researchers found something amazing. They found that biological brains, they used mice and AI systems, develop identical neural synchronization patterns when they're doing social tasks.
Identical between a mouse brain and an AI.
Identical patterns. It's apparently the first time scientists have identified these fundamental laws of social cognition that seem to work across totally different kinds of intelligence, biological, artificial.
Wow. So how does that work?
Both systems, the mouse brain and the AI, split their neural activity into these synchronized patterns. Some patterns were shared across individuals during social interaction, and some were unique to the individual.
And disrupting the shared components in the AI actually reduced its social behaviors in the simulation. This suggests that social intelligence might follow some kind of universal computational principles.
Exactly, which is incredible. It could potentially unlock new treatments for things like autism or social disorders by showing us the basic mechanisms. And it gives us a blueprint for building AI that might genuinely understand social cues, not just mimic them.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? As AI gets more sophisticated in its thinking and understanding, how are our interactions with it going to evolve? Will it change how we even define intelligence itself?
Big questions. And for a really uplifting story about AI, Stanford has this course, CS123. They teach students to build their own AI-powered robot dogs.
Robot dogs, like Boston Dynamics.
Sort of, but much smaller and cheaper. They're called Pupper. Students build them from scratch for under $1,000. They learn everything from motor control right up to machine learning.
That sounds like an amazing hands-on course.
Totally. And the final projects are cool, like making them into tour guides or even tiny firefighters. But here's the best part. They're deploying these Pepper robots at Lucille Packard Children's Hospital.
For the kids.
Yeah, to help young patients. They provide comfort. There's a story about a 12-year-old girl, Tatiana Cobb, finding real comfort from one. And there are proven medical benefits that can lower blood pressure, reduce anxiety, even motivate kids to be more active.
That's wonderful. It's democratizing advanced AI education and providing real, tangible therapeutic value. The low cost, the open source design. That's AI for genuine good right there.
Absolutely. And one last quick one. Boston University researchers unveiled something called PodGPT.
PodGPT, let me guess. Trained on podcasts.
You got it. Trained on over 3,700 hours of science and medicine podcasts specifically. The goal is to make AI better at understanding conversational language and complex domain-specific content, the kind you hear in specialized discussions.
So audio-informed AI models. That's a big step towards AI agents that sound more natural and are actually more knowledgeable, especially in science and education. Makes sense.
Wow. Okay, what an incredible deep dive today. We've really covered a lot of ground, haven't we?
We really have.
I mean, from the edge of this AI-driven medical revolution, AI drugs going into the human trials, all the way to the sometimes surprising, maybe unsettling ways AI is getting into management decisions, we saw the really intense battles for talent and IP heating up in the AI industry. And then these profound new insights into AI's own intelligence, strategic reasoning, social cues, and its power for good, like those therapy robot dogs.
It's been fascinating. And today we saw AI not just mimicking what humans can do, but also in some ways revealing these possibly universal principles of intelligence and social interaction, which leads me to a final, maybe provocative thought for everyone listening. If AI can now demonstrate strategic reasoning, if it can understand social cues based on potentially universal principles, how might it start to redefine our very understanding of intelligence itself, both artificial and human intelligence? The boundaries are definitely blurring, and the future looks set to be even more fascinating, perhaps challenging than we imagined.
That is a powerful thought to leave us with, especially as AI keeps evolving at just breakneck speed. We definitely encourage you, our listeners, to keep digging, keep exploring these developments. Remember, this deep dive was brought to you by AI Unraveled, which is created and produced by Etienne Noman, senior engineer, and yes, passionate soccer dad from Canada. Please don't forget to like and subscribe at Apple Podcasts. It really helps others find the show and ensures you never miss our next deep dive into the world of AI. And for those of you ready to take your understanding up a notch, maybe boost your career, don't forget Etienne's AI certification preparation resources. He's got ebooks and audiobooks covering Azure AI Engineer Associate, Google Cloud Generative AI Leader, AWS Certified AI Practitioner Study Guide, Azure AI Fundamentals, and Google Machine Learning Certification. They're all available over at djamgate.com. And also check out Etienne Noman's AI Unraveled Builders Toolkit. It's packed with AI tutorials, PDFs, audio, video, plus certification guides to help you actually start building with AI. All the links for everything we mentioned, the resources, the toolkit, they're all conveniently waiting for you in the show notes. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.